The massive alien vessel appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Its sleek, silver hull reflected sunlight in brilliant patterns across the sky, visible to millions below. Military forces worldwide went on high alert, but the strange ship made no aggressive moves. "We come in peace," came the transmission in perfect English, broadcast simultaneously in every major language on Earth. Within hours, the United Nations assembled an emergency session. World leaders watched with a mixture of fear and wonder as the first aliens humanity had ever encountered stepped into the General Assembly Hall. Ambassador Trill led the delegation. Tall and slender with pale blue skin and large expressive eyes, he moved with fluid grace. Behind him followed representatives from 12 different species, each more exotic than the last. "We represent the Stellar Confederation," Trill announced, his voice melodious yet strange to human ears. "A union of civilizations spanning 3 spiral arms of our galaxy. We have been observing your world for some time." The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Humans reacted with everything from religious panic to excited celebration. Most simply watched their screens in stunned silence as humanity learned it was not alone. The Confederation established a base in neutral territory, a floating platform in international waters. From there, they began cultural and scientific exchanges, seemingly eager to welcome Earth into their galactic community. "They think we're harmless," muttered General Martinez as he watched footage of smiling diplomats shaking hands with blue-skinned aliens. "Look at how they pat our ambassadors on the head, like we're clever pets." He wasn't entirely wrong. To the Confederation species, humans seemed primitive, having only recently discovered atomic energy and basic space travel. Most Confederation races had been traversing the stars when humans were still figuring out agriculture. 3 months after first contact, the incident happened. A rogue faction from a Confederation species called the Mox broke away during a diplomatic tour. They seized weapons from their own security detail and took 30 human hostages in a desperate bid to steal Earth technology they believed would grant them power back home. The Confederation security forces surrounded the building, but hesitated to act. Their species evolved on peaceful worlds, and combat was not their strength. As they debated options, General Martinez's Special Forces team requested permission to handle the situation. "These humans will only get themselves killed," warned Trill, but reluctantly agreed when no better option presented itself. What happened next changed how the entire Confederation viewed humanity. 8 soldiers entered the building through points the aliens hadn't considered vulnerable. Moving with precision and calm that stunned the observing aliens, they neutralized the 7 heavily armed Mox in less than 3 minutes. Not a single hostage was harmed. "Impossible," whispered Trill's security chief, watching the helmet camera footage. "The Mox have enhanced strength and reflexes compared to humans. How did these primitive beings outfight them so effectively?" The answer came in the debriefing. The human team hadn't outmuscled the aliens. They had outthought them, using strategy, deception, and coordination that shocked the Confederation observers. That evening, Trill sent an urgent message to the Confederation Council. Initial assessment of human capabilities severely underestimated. These beings evolved on a death world by our standards. Their history is defined by constant warfare. They possess remarkable tactical thinking and adaptability to threat. Recommend immediate reassessment of integration protocols. As the message traveled across light years, humans and aliens continued their cautious dance of diplomacy. But the Confederation representatives now watched their new human friends with newfound caution, wondering what other surprises Earth's children might reveal. Deep within the Confederation research vessel Eternal Curiosity alien scientists gathered around displays showing human biological data. Dr. Len, the lead xenobiologist, pointed at the readings with a trembling appendage. "These cannot be correct," she said. "Run the tests again." But the results remained the same after 3 attempts. The humans, these soft-looking bipeds from the blue planet, possessed biological traits that defied conventional understanding. Their bones, Dr. Len explained the gathered science team should break under the pressures they routinely endure. Their muscles tear and rebuild stronger. Their bodies are constantly fighting invasion by microorganisms. They live their entire lives in a state that would be considered medical emergency for most Confederation species. The medical data was just the beginning. As Confederation researchers delved deeper into human history, their concern grew. Earth's extreme environmental variations had produced a species unlike any in known space. They evolved on a world where they were not the strongest predators, explained historian Vex to the increasingly troubled Confederation Security Council. They survived through intelligence, tool use, and remarkable aggression when threatened. On the main screen, images of human warfare throughout history played in sequence. Council members watched in horror as humans fought with everything from crude stone tools to nuclear weapons. This species has spent more of its recorded history at war than at peace, Vex continued. They fight over resources, territory, ideology, even slight differences in appearance or belief. By any reasonable standard, they should have destroyed themselves centuries ago. Ambassador Trill shifted uncomfortably, and yet they didn't. They survived their own violent tendencies. That's what troubles us most, said Dr. Len, stepping forward. Humans possess something we've never seen combined in one species before: extreme capacity for both violence and empathy. The screen shifted to new images. Humans risking their lives to save strangers, building hospitals in war zones, creating art of breathtaking beauty. The same beings capable of genocide also willingly sacrifice themselves for others, Dr. Len continued. The same minds that designed weapons of mass destruction also created philosophy questioning the morality of violence. They constantly struggle against their own nature, and sometimes win. The Security Council chamber fell silent. Finally, Council Leader Max spoke the question on everyone's mind. Are they safe to include in galactic society? The debate lasted 17 hours. Some council members argued for immediate containment of Earth, a quarantine that would prevent humans from reaching the stars. Others suggested genetic modification to remove humans' more dangerous traits. You misunderstand the threat, Trill said after listening patiently. If we attempt to contain them, we become their enemies. Their history shows clearly what happens to those who threaten humans. What do you propose? Asked Max. Integration. Carefully managed integration, Trill replied. Humans channel their intensity into productive outlets when given purpose. Their adaptability makes them perfect for roles other species struggle with. Their unconventional thinking solves problems we would never approach the same way. And if they turn against us? Asked another council member. Trill's expression darkened. Then the galaxy will face a threat unlike any in Confederation history. Humans don't just fight. They transform through conflict. Each war in their history led to rapid technological advancement. If we become their adversaries, they will evolve specifically to defeat us. The Council voted narrowly in favor of Trill's recommendation. Humans would be welcomed into the galactic community, but closely observed. Selected individuals would be invited to participate in Confederation programs, beginning with military and diplomatic training. As the council session ended, Trill looked again at the human data. One finding troubled him most. Under extreme stress, humans showed increased performance rather than breakdown. In crisis, when any reasonable being would collapse, humans somehow became more effective. What kind of evolutionary history, Trill wondered, creates a species that performs best when survival seems least likely? The Confederation Elite Academy floated in space, a massive ring-shaped structure orbiting a gentle yellow star. For thousands of years, it had trained the brightest minds from across the galaxy. Now, for the first time, it would welcome students from Earth. Jack stepped from the transport shuttle, trying not to show his amazement. A former Army Ranger, he had seen combat in 3 conflicts and prided himself on his unshakable composure. But nothing had prepared him for the alien magnificence of the Academy. Beside him, Anna clutched her data pad nervously. Before selection for this program, She had been a research scientist specializing in adaptive systems. Unlike Jack, she made no attempt to hide her wonder. "This place is incredible," she whispered as they followed their blue-skinned guide through corridors filled with beings of every imaginable shape and form. Their orientation was brief and bewildering. 20 humans among 10,000 alien cadets. They would train alongside species that had been traveling the stars when humans were still living in caves. "You will fail," stated Instructor Drav bluntly on their first day. The tall, four-armed being regarded the human cadets with obvious skepticism. "Your planet is primitive, your body's fragile, your mind's undeveloped. But the Council ordered your inclusion, so we will do our duty." The humans exchanged glances. They had all been chosen for their exceptional abilities and resilience. None were accustomed to being underestimated. The first challenge came in physical training. Cadets had to complete an obstacle course designed to test endurance. The gravity was set higher than Earth normal, a disadvantage for the humans. "Begin," announced Drav. Jack led the human group, setting a pace that had instructors checking their monitoring equipment for errors. Where other species tired, the humans pushed harder. When the course became more difficult, they seemed to find new reserves of strength. Anna finished third overall, collapsing at the end with exhaustion, but grinning through her pain. "Impossible," muttered Drav, reviewing the results. They should not be able to function at these stress levels. In tactical simulations, the pattern continued. Jack's approaches to combat scenarios horrified instructors with their controlled aggression, but produced results that could not be ignored. Where other species sought perfect solutions, humans embraced good enough approaches that accepted risk. "You willingly sacrifice units to achieve objectives," Instructor Pelv noted with distaste after one simulation. "I sacrifice pieces to win the game," Jack corrected. In real combat, perfect plans fall apart. Adaptability beats perfection every time. Anna shone in different ways. During crisis response training, other species followed established protocols. Anna invented new approaches on the spot, combining elements no one had thought to combine before. "The human does not respect proper procedures," complained a fellow cadet from an ancient species. "The human saved everyone in the simulation," countered the instructor. 6 months into training, Academy leadership called an emergency meeting. The humans were outperforming expectations in ways that disturbed many instructors. "They thrive under pressure," noted the chief medical officer. "Most species show declining function as stress increases. Humans show a performance spike. It's as though they were evolved specifically for crisis." "It's more than that," added the combat instructor. "They have a mental flexibility our other species lack. When presented with a no-win scenario, they simply change the rules of engagement." The Academy commandant reviewed the data carefully. "The Confederation Council must be informed. These humans are not just capable students. They represent something entirely new." As the leadership debated, Jack and Anna led a mixed-species team through a training exercise. Working together, the alien cadets began adopting human approaches, taking calculated risks, improvising when plans failed. "Perhaps," mused the commandant, watching the exercise, "this is exactly why the Council wanted humans included. They change everyone around them. For better or worse, the Academy would never be the same." The emergency alert woke Admiral Prell from deep sleep. The aging Confederation officer rubbed his eyes as the holographic display flickered to life, showing the grim face of his second-in-command. "They'd broken through at Sector 7, reported Commander Jorv. 3 colony worlds have gone silent. The Void Collective is advancing faster than we predicted." For 2 years, the Confederation had been fighting a losing battle against the mysterious Void Collective. Unlike any enemy encountered before, the collective ships used technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. They appeared without warning, struck with devastating force, and vanished before effective counterattacks could be mounted. "Summon the War Council," ordered Admiral Prell. "All senior commanders." An hour later, the command center of the Confederation flagship *Eternal Justice*, was filled with the highest-ranking officers from across the fleet. Among them stood 3 humans: Captain Jack, newly promoted to command his own strike vessel; Commander Anna, head of tactical analysis; and Lieutenant Tom, a weapons specialist. "Our conventional strategies have failed," Admiral Prell announced bluntly. "The enemy adapts to our tactics faster than we can implement them. At the current rate of advance, they will reach core Confederation worlds within 60 days. Silence fell across the room. The Confederation had not faced such an existential threat in 10,000 years. "If I may speak, Admiral," Jack stepped forward, his voice calm despite the tension in the room. Several alien officers shifted uncomfortably. Though humans had served with distinction since graduating from the academy, many still viewed them with suspicion. "The collective succeeds because they know exactly what we'll do," Jack continued. "Confederation tactics are logical, methodical, and, forgive me, predictable. We need to become unpredictable." Anna joined him, activating a holographic display showing Void Collective ship movements. "Their technology is superior, but their strategy shows patterns. They attack where we are strongest, using overwhelming force. What if we appear weak where we're actually strong?" "You propose deception?" asked the senior commander with obvious distaste. "The Confederation has always relied on honorable direct engagement, and we're losing," Jack replied simply. Tom stepped forward with detailed schematics. "We've analyzed their shield technology. It's designed to withstand massive, concentrated energy attacks. But what about numerous small impacts from unexpected angles?" The human proposal was radical. "Split the fleet into small, seemingly vulnerable groups to lure the collective into a complex trap. Conventional Confederation doctrine forbade dividing forces this way." "This is madness," protested Admiral Krell of the Third Fleet. "You would have us abandon 10,000 years of proven military doctrine for what?" "Human instinct. For survival," Jack answered. "The collective doesn't fight like any enemy you've faced before. Don't fight them like you fought before." The debate raged for hours. Finally, with great reluctance, Admiral Prell made his decision. "We have tried everything else," he said heavily. "We will implement the human strategy." 3 days later, the trap was set. Small groups of Confederation ships appeared to be retreating in disarray, leaving critical systems seemingly undefended. The Void Collective, sensing weakness, committed their main fleet to a decisive strike. From hiding places in asteroid fields, behind moons, and in the blinding light of nearby stars, Confederation ships emerged in a coordinated attack pattern that defied conventional tactics. Small, fast vessels swarmed the larger collective ships, targeting specific weaknesses in their shield configurations. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the Void Collective had suffered its first major defeat. 3 of their command vessels were captured intact, providing invaluable intelligence. In the aftermath, Admiral Prell stood before the Confederation Council, explaining their victory. "The humans showed us something we had forgotten," he said. "In focusing on technological advancement, we became rigid in our thinking. These Earthborn officers reintroduced concepts our civilization abandoned millennia ago: deception, misdirection, and controlled chaos." The council members exchanged troubled glances. The victory was welcome, but the implications disturbing. If humans could so easily change Confederation military doctrine, what else might they change? Commander Rax stood before the hidden council, his tall frame rigid with purpose. The dimly lit chamber held 12 figures, leaders from different Confederation species who shared a common conviction. Humans represented an existential threat to galactic civilization. "You've all seen the reports," Rax said, gesturing to the data displays floating before each member. "In just 5 years, humans have risen to positions of influence throughout our military and scientific institutions. Their innovative thinking is reshaping our society at an alarming rate." The evidence was compelling. Human tactics had defeated the Void Collective. True, but in the process, Humanity had gained unprecedented access to advanced Confederation technology. Human officers now commanded ships. Human scientists led research teams. Human diplomats participated in council decisions. "The pattern is clear," continued Rax. "We've seen this before with other dangerous species. They integrate, they learn our weaknesses, and eventually, they dominate. The difference is that humans are advancing faster than any species we've encountered." An elderly member of the Trill species raised a trembling hand. "What do you propose?" "The Confederation Charter forbids action against member worlds without clear evidence of hostile intent." Rax smiled thinly. "We create the evidence." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Rax's faction had captured several Void Collective vessels during the recent conflict. They would use these ships to launch an attack on human outposts, making it appear that Earth had secretly allied with the enemy. The response would be swift and decisive. A preemptive strike against Earth to eliminate the human threat once and for all. "The full council will vote for containment," Rax explained. "We will deploy the Sundering Array to isolate Earth's solar system within a temporal stasis field. Humanity will be frozen in time, neither dead nor alive, until the council determines they are no longer a threat." On board the Confederation diplomatic vessel Harmonious Exchange Jack reviewed security protocols with his team. As the newly appointed human security liaison to the council, he took his responsibilities seriously. "Captain," called a young officer, "we're picking up unusual communications traffic on restricted channels." Jack frowned. "Let me see." The message was heavily encrypted, but Jack had always had a talent for patterns. What he saw chilled him to the bone. Fragmentary information about deployment schedules for the legendary Sundering Array, a weapon so terrible it had been used only once in Confederation history. At the same time across the ship, Anna was meeting with Ambassador Trill to discuss human integration programs when her datapad alerted her to a security breach. Someone had accessed classified files about Earth's defensive capabilities. "Ambassador," she said carefully, "I believe we may have a problem." Their separate discoveries led to the same terrible conclusion. Jack and Anna met in secret, comparing information. "It's a plot to isolate Earth," Jack said grimly, "using the Sundering Array." "But why?" Anna wondered. "We've done nothing but help the Confederation." "Perhaps that's exactly the problem," replied a voice from the doorway. Ambassador Trill entered, his usually calm features tight with worry. "You've helped too well, changed too much, too quickly." He explained that throughout Confederation history, species that evolved too rapidly or showed too much potential were often viewed as threats. The conservative elements of the Council preferred stability over progress. "We need to warn Earth," Jack insisted. "If you try, they'll arrest you as Void Collective sympathizers," Trill countered. "Rax's faction has already planted evidence linking you both to enemy agents." "So we're trapped," Anna said. "Not entirely." Trill produced a small data crystal. "This contains access codes to a diplomatic shuttle. If you leave now, you might reach the outer colonies before they realize you're gone." "We'd be fugitives," Jack pointed out. "Yes," Trill agreed solemnly. "But you'd be free to find the evidence needed to stop this madness. I cannot openly oppose the Council, but I can give you this chance." Jack and Anna looked at each other, understanding the gravity of their choice. To save Earth, they would have to abandon everything they had worked for. "When do we leave?" Jack asked. The abandoned mining outpost on Proxys 9 hadn't seen visitors in centuries. Perfect for fugitives seeking ancient secrets, Jack and Anna worked quickly to restore power to the facility's main computer core. If Ambassador Trill's information is correct, this outpost contains historical archives predating the current Confederation government, Anna explained, fingers flying across the alien interface. Their journey to this remote location had been fraught with danger. Twice, Confederation patrol ships had nearly captured them. Once, they'd been forced to hide in an asteroid field for 3 days, conserving oxygen and power while search vessels combed the sector. "Got it." Anna said as the ancient screens flickered to life. The archive is intact. What they discovered over the next 12 hours changed everything they thought they knew about the Confederation. This can't be right, Jack whispered as they reviewed the historical records. According to this, the Confederation has systematically eliminated at least 7 species they deemed evolutionarily dangerous in the last 50,000 years. Anna pointed to another file. Look at the justification. Species P37 demonstrated unprecedented adaptability and social evolution, threatening established order. They quarantined their entire home system using the sundering array. File after file revealed the same pattern. When a species evolved too quickly or showed too much potential, the Confederation didn't merely contain them. They removed them from the galactic stage entirely. Humans aren't the first to be feared, Jack realized. We're just the latest in a long line of species that scared them. As they delved deeper into the archives, they discovered something even more disturbing. The Void Collective wasn't a new enemy at all. It was composed of survivors from these purged civilizations, gathered over millennia, fighting against the Confederation that had tried to erase them. The Confederation rewrites history, Anna said, her voice hollow. They present themselves as benevolent unifiers, but they're actually enforcing stagnation. Any species that might eventually surpass them is eliminated. A soft chime from their shuttle's communication system interrupted their research. The message was brief, sent on an emergency channel from Ambassador Trill. Deployment approved. Sundering array moving into position near Earth. 72 hours remaining. Jack slammed his fist against the console. We've got the truth, but no way to spread it in time. Actually, we might, Anna said thoughtfully. Remember that Void Collective ship we captured? Their communication technology operates outside normal Confederation channels. If we could access one, we'd need help, Jack pointed out. The solution came from an unexpected source. During their flight, they had picked up another fugitive, a young Confederation engineer named Pell who had questioned his superiors once too often. Pell had contacts in the frontier worlds where strict Confederation control was weaker. I know someone with access to a salvaged collective vessel, Pell told them. But reaching them means traveling through the dead zone. The dead zone, a region of space where a spatial anomaly made normal navigation impossible. Confederation ships avoided it entirely, but they had no choice. The journey through the dead zone pushed their small craft to its limits. Strange energies buffeted the hull, and time itself seemed to flow differently. Jack relied on instincts honed through years of combat situations, making split-second decisions that kept them alive when logic said they should fail. When they emerged, they found themselves at a hidden outpost where various outcasts and rebels had gathered, species from across the galaxy who had reason to distrust the Confederation. An older alien with mottled skin approached them. I am Vex. I was the last survivor when the Confederation purged my world. Pell says you have proof of what they've done. Jack nodded grimly. And they're about to do it again to Earth. Vex's eyes narrowed. Then we have little time. The sundering array can only be stopped from the Confederation's central command station. That's the most heavily defended location in the galaxy, Anna pointed out. Yes, agreed Vex. But we have something they don't expect. Knowledge of their own history, and a stolen Void Collective ship capable of bypassing their defenses. As they prepared for the desperate mission, Jack realized something that gave him both hope and fear. Throughout human history, the most impossible victories had always come when humans had nothing left to lose. The Confederation thinks we're dangerous, he told Anna as they boarded the alien vessel. Let's prove them right. The Confederation's Central Command floated in space like a gleaming jewel, a massive station where the ruling council determined the fate of countless worlds. Today, it was in chaos. Alarms blared as security forces rushed through corridors. The impossible had happened. Intruders had penetrated the station's legendary defenses. Not just any intruders, humans, and their allies, arriving in a modified Void Collective vessel that had phased directly through the outer shields. In the main control center, Commander Rax barked orders as technicians tried to lock down the station. "The sundering array is 30 minutes from activation," reported an officer. "Earth will be contained." "Good." Rax nodded. "Once the humans are dealt with, we can restore proper order to." The doors slid open. Jack, Anna, and Vex stood in the entrance, weapons ready but not firing. "This ends now," Jack said simply. Rax smiled coldly. "You're too late. The array is already moving into position. Nothing can stop it now." "We're not here to stop the array," Anna replied. "We're here to show the truth." She activated a device that overrode the command center's communication systems, suddenly on every screen throughout the station, and broadcasting to council members across the galaxy, appeared the historical records they had discovered. Files opened one after another, showing the Confederation's systematic elimination of species deemed threats. The secret history of the Void Collective. The fabricated evidence against Earth. "What is this?" demanded a council member who had just arrived at the station. "The truth," Vex answered, stepping forward. "I am the last of the Lentari. The Confederation told everyone my world was destroyed by a natural disaster. In reality, they eliminated us because our technological development was advancing too quickly." More council members gathered, watching in horror as their civilization's darkest secrets were exposed. "This changes nothing," Rax insisted. "These species, including humans, represent existential dangers to galactic stability. Our ancestors understood this. We protect the greater good by murdering entire civilizations." Jack asked. "That's not protection. That's fear." The station shook suddenly. On the external monitors, ships appeared, Void Collective vessels, dozens of them, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. "You led them here," accused Rax. "No," Anna shook her head. "We contacted them. There's a difference. They agreed to hold fire while we attempt a diplomatic solution." The standoff lasted tense minutes. Finally, the most senior council member present, Elder Vorn, raised a hand for silence. "In 10,000 years, the ancient alien said slowly, we have not faced such a moment. If what you show us is true, and I fear it is, then we have betrayed our own founding principles." "The array is still approaching Earth," Jack reminded them urgently. Elder Vorn nodded. "Deactivate the sundering array." Immediately. Rax stepped forward. "You can't." "It is done," interrupted a technician, looking up from a console. Array powering down. The next 12 hours saw the most extraordinary council session in Confederation history. Representatives from Earth joined with survivors of previously persecuted species and progressive Confederation members. Together, they drafted a new charter, one that acknowledged past wrongs and established protections for developing civilizations. "We were wrong about humans," Elder Vorn admitted as the session concluded. "We saw your adaptability and capacity for violence as threats. We failed to recognize that these same traits, when channeled properly, create unparalleled problem solvers and allies." Jack looked out a viewport at the assembled ships. Confederation vessels now floating peacefully alongside Void Collective crafts for the first time. "Humans aren't perfect," he said. "Our history is full of terrible mistakes, but we learn from them. That's our real strength." Anna joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "The Confederation feared change. Humans embrace it. Maybe that's what makes us dangerous and valuable." As the new Confederation Charter was ratified, Ambassador Trill approached the humans. "You've changed everything," he said. "Some will resist, but most see the truth now. The galaxy needs species like yours, beings who question, who innovate, who refuse to accept that something cannot be done." The reformed Confederation established a new principle. Diversity of thought and evolution would be protected, not feared. Earth would not only join as a full member, but would help lead the transition to a more dynamic, adaptive galactic society. The most dangerous beings in the universe, it turned out, were exactly what the universe needed most.